As I've entered the school, it's been a while since I've seen such happy faces, and there's a good sense of energy in the school. And I do go to schools for, some talks or some prize giving, and that dance was breathtaking. And what was so beautiful that each child on the stage was enjoying herself. She was into the dance, there was a meaning for them. And also the way that this summit has been structured, I really have not seen another school put this kind of effort and this kind of creativity into designing a literary summit. I think this idea can inform some of the very boring literary festivals which are held across the country right now. So I'm hoping that they can pick up some of these ideas, because this is indeed a wonderful way of expressing the idea of writing, of books, of reading, comprehension. I'm going to talk about four things today. So, very brief introduction. I have been a career journalist. I'm a master's in economics from Delhi School of Economics. I found it very theoretical and boring after Delhi School. So I joined business journalism in a magazine called Business Today. And a series of circumstances ended up me narrowing my field of work into something called personal finance. So I've worked for 30 years across all the media organizations: Economic Times, Indian Express, Business Today, Financial Express, Edited Outlook Money, Mint, been part of government committees, written different things. And when you look at somebody who is saying that I've done all these things, and you are, into grade 8, 9, 10, what you need to remember is that I had 30 years to do it. If I stood here without having some accomplishments, those were 30 years wasted. So we all get this, 2 or 3 decades of our early youth and then going on to middle age to make a difference, to make a mark, not maybe on the world, but to yourself. So think about that this is going to be your most productive years, your most years in which you accomplish a lot, because there is a certain age to the human body, right? And at your age, you just have to look at the faces of your grandparents to know that there is a circle of life. Lion King, right? Lion King, everyone? Yes. I mean, that's the biology. So this is going to be the most exciting years of your life, also the most stressful, where everything has to happen, your families have to happen, everything happens in the next 20 years for you all. So very, very important to embark upon that with the kind of happiness that I saw on the dancer's face, because life is going to throw lots of things. And what is a life if there are no challenges? It's going to be boring if there is no challenge. It's only when there is something that you fight against that you get the juices running, you get your adrenaline moving, and you are out in battle fighting. But I want to go back and talk about writing. Writing, and again, you already are on the side of the writers and readers, but I want to talk to you about writing as a basic life skill. We like memes. I'm actually at my age a wonderful. I love memes because as a writer, the fact that somebody can take a picture and put one line which describes it in such a different manner. You've seen those ones, Utho Anarkali. You've seen those ones completely. I mean, it's a different context, different time, and somebody with a great sense of humor, great sense of concise writing, has managed to put an idea across so beautifully. So, right from meme writing to writing a WhatsApp message, writing an email, writing an essay, these will slowly increase as you start writing your application letters, your admission letters, your statement of purpose. So the gradation will keep increasing. What is an essay today will start transforming. And yes, AI is there, but even AI needs clear and concise instructions. So you can't get away from clear writing, grammatically correct, with the right ideas coming across. So it's a key life skill. You cannot get away from it. Again, you don't need to be a journalist or author, but I'm just going to take you through a little bit of my own journey of writing across my 30 years, which began again as essays reluctantly written in school. And I'm so old that we used to write letters by hand and post them. Okay? There's no internet, there's no email, there's no WhatsApp. So, and when you discover those letters, it's a very strange thing. Like who would write a letter on paper and send and mail, and it takes a week to reach. And of course, you wrote exams, right? So I think a lot of it is MCQ now, but we have long form. So that was the early journey. And my first job was in a new magazine called Business Today. And as a rookie writer, you know what my challenge was? So I'm trying to tell you what I learned over my journey. Is that to write a business story in 450 words, I realized you had to research for days and days and collect so much material that the first story that I wrote for the magazine was, I think it was like 2,000 words. And then to have the editor slash, burn, kill it to 450 words and less was a lesson to myself. And you know, there was no loss of information. So whatever that 1,000, 1,500, I can't even remember. But when that editor finished editing my piece, I realized there was no loss of information. So, how are you writing? Your role models today are the main writers. There's no loss of information. Every word counts, isn't it? So, you're trying to put across ideas in a manner which people understand, but you're not letting fluff get into it. Okay, so it's concise. That was my first learning. And then I did a second master's in UK. I got a scholarship, went for a year to do journalism, master's in journalism. I think this lot is lucky. I think you're in a school which is challenging you a lot. The education system has changed over the past 30 years, but when I grew up, it was still a lot of rote learning. Okay, you had to write the answers which were expected of you. So, and Delhi school, same thing. Right? You know, by which time the brain had sort of frozen. In the masters in UK, one was that you met a diverse set of people from all over the world. And you realized one thing is that, everyone from across the world has different attributes, and speaking great English may not be one of them, but it doesn't make them bad people, which is something that our education system sort of drilled, that you have to speak English with that right accent. That was one part of it. The second part was that I began to enjoy writing there. Because in the masters, you had to write essays, you were given books, you had to read them, you had to write a dissertation. And for the first time, I realized that my opinion and my analysis might be of some value. It isn't I was regurgitating something else, but the fact that in my essay, if I could argue it right, so this is the crucial part for you. My learning was, you can say what you want. You should be able to substantiate it and argue it out. And that translates into writing in a very meaningful manner. So that was my writing learning during my masters in the UK. And then I come back and join Economic Times, Markets and Finance. I have specialized in stock markets, bond markets, just the financial sector. And in Economic Times, I started to use numbers, okay, and data. And I realized that a good story needn't be a story, needn't be a long form of writing. One of the best stories was when I was chasing white collar crime. Somebody was coming out with an IPO. How many people know what an IPO is? Okay. It's an initial public offer in the stock market where they collect money from people. That time they used to collect the money and vanish. So I chased that company because they were coming back to the market, and we did a series in Economic Times. And finally they sent us a legal notice. Okay, and the legal notice had 15 questions. That it was a precursor that why should we not sue you? We will. The entire one-page story in Economic Times was me answering those questions. And in answering those questions, I mean, we never heard from that company again. There was no legal notice. They were demolished. So there are different ways of using your writing. I didn't write an article. I answered their show cause notice, like tell us why we should not sue you. These are those 15 questions. In my answers, in Economic Times, they were demolished. They never came back to the stock market again. They just ran. So there are different kinds of writing. It's very exciting to see this craft and use it in different ways. Okay, so we think that it's only writing articles or books, but it's many, many, many things. So that was one. And then after that, I joined a new magazine which was coming up called Intelligent Investor. That magazine today is called Outlook Money. This was a new experiment in Indian journalism. So when we write, right, we are writing either for yourself or for somebody else. Do you understand the difference between writing for yourself, which is very meaningful, and writing for somebody else? Writing for somebody else is writing an exam, you're writing for that person to give you full marks. You're writing an article, you're writing for who? Who are you going to give that article to? Is that a school magazine? No, okay, you're writing for the editor. So when I joined this new genre of journalism called personal finance, we were putting the individual as the protagonist. I learned to write for the reader and not my editor. There's a very crucial difference, and it's a key writing skill, which once you see, you can never unsee. A lot of journalists write either for their editor or their peer group. So they will make it more and more tough, jargon-filled. I learned to write for my reader. So identify your reader and write for him or her, and write with all of you, all of your different parts of your being, which is your heart, your head. What are you thinking? What analysis you have? And then finally the empathy towards your reader, to handhold the reader and make him or her understand something which might not be so easy to understand. And then different, like Indian Express, again, I learned the use of data to tell a story. I mean, if you see a string of numbers, to me, it tells me a story, okay? I love to look at data, just raw data. It tells me a story. Can I turn that story into something that people who don't understand data, which is fine, that's the skill. How do I turn this strange quirk that I have, that I like to look at numbers, the numbers tell me a story, and then I can tell that story without using numbers, So that skill I learned in Indian Express. Then I edited a magazine, Outlook Money, then you start looking at other people's work and putting together a design and telling the story in a different way. Then I did another different kind of writing, which is I started doing some television shows. NDTV, Bloomberg, Z. Now, TV script writing is very different from an article writing or a long form feature story. It's very short, it's very crisp, it's very pacey. So that's a completely different kind of writing. So some of you who are hoping to be TV journalists, there's no longer a division between print and TV. You have to change your hats constantly. That you can be a writer of a long form story, different skills. You can be a writer of a news story, different skills. Writer of an opinion piece, which is a different skill. Writer of a TV script, which is a different skill. Writer of a meme line, which is a different skill. So, you will have to constantly work on the medium. Okay, it's not about what you are doing, it's about what medium are you using. Is your writing relevant to the medium that you're using? If I took my 400 word piece onto the television script, that TV show had failed. So I had to learn to respect the medium that you use. So again, as writers, if your medium is a book, it's a different kind of writing. If it is a TV script, it's a different kind of writing. So remember, it's talking to who's your audience and what's your medium. So as budding writers and thinkers, and these skills are of use all through your life. You needn't be an author. You could be a management consultant. How many people want to go into consulting? Anyone wants to go into consulting? Okay. A lot of the people who go in for MBAs their ultimate aim is EY or BCG, you will have to write over there, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation, whether it's a pitch for business or a solution to a business. Unless you know who you're writing for, what the medium is, it's not going to be effective. And then, of course, the book, Let's Talk Money. Before we came, ma'am was asking me, how long did it take you? So, Let's Talk Money, we are almost going to be doing 1 lakh copies soon. So, for possibly your parents' generation, maybe, if in class 11, 12, you might pick it up, you'll understand it. Basic money skills. So, she was saying, how long did you take to write it? I said, hardly any time. I mean, along with a full-time job, a house to run, everything, maybe 6 months. Why is that? It was fully cooked inside. So, should you set out on a journey to write a book, don't be in a hurry. Okay, your generation is going to live to 100. It's not just a blessing, which it is, but also science. You have a very long runway ahead of you. So don't be in a hurry to publish too soon. Let it fully cook. So I wrote the first book in 2005. It wasn't fully cooked. I am not proud of it. I never mention it. It's technically perfect, empty of feeling. Okay, so writing, even finance, is so much about how much of yourself you can bring, how much of empathy you can show to your reader, what kind of journey you want to take your reader on. So it is a lot about that. So fully cook something before you bring it to public. Do not be in a rush at all. How do you write a best-selling book? Third point, there has to be passion. And the passion is not just to make money. Making money is important, I'll deal with it. But this passion has to be much more. There has to be something that you're bringing to the world. And if you're really passionate, you don't mind taking the hard road. You don't mind the suffering which might come if you take a road in which you're following your passion. All the great stories you hear, all the great actors, other than the second generation actors, a lot of the other actors have had very, very tough times trying to make it big. So if there is a genuine passion, understand it and then be prepared to follow it. How do you start? You start by if you want to be a writer, whether it's a journalist, whether it's writing academic, you go to academia, writing academic papers is also writing, whether you want to write a book. You have to start practicing and use every moment to practice. Whether it's an email, whether it's a WhatsApp message, whether you're writing a meme, start a blog. Don't show the blog to anybody initially, don't make it public, write for yourself, hone your skill. Go on. Make it every Sunday, I will write 400 words. You have to put it into a discipline so that more and more that you write, the better and better you get. So, people tell me that I speak well in a public event. Okay, I'm a good public speaker. Till almost after college, I used to stammer if I had to speak in front of 5 people. I was that nervous. I could not speak in public. Life throws these things at you. I'm forced to go on TV studio, start talking. I'm forced, so you go on talking. The more you talk, the better you get. Okay, it is just that. It is just practice. I used to, in UK, there was a teacher who taught us television, and all of us were very nervous. We were young, early 20s, very nervous. Cameras were still very new. And he said, I can put a monkey in front of the camera, and after 10 times he will do well. Okay, so it's really practice. If you are serious about your writing career, practice. And I'm going to just end here with one last thing. Can your passion for writing make you money? Is money important? Show me your hands. Is money important? Very nice. I am delighted to see that. There are places where people will say, no, money is not important. I will do social work. How will you do social work? So being rich is good. Is being rich good? Yes. Yes. How you earn it and what you do with it might be moral questions which each of you have to solve. No one can tell you. Okay? Don't listen. That is for you to decide. Money is good, being rich is good. In the next 25 years, India is going to be a middle income country. And your cohort will be in the top of that. So upper middle mass, affluent, rich. Unless we understand this and unless we aspire for it, we're going to let this opportunity go. So money is good, we must all be rich. Should we all be poor or should we all be rich? Should all be rich. How you earn it, just remember, how you earn it and how you spend it can be moral questions. Having money is good. Will you make money when you write? So a lot of times, I have just said this to you, follow your passion. But there is a world in which you live in. Your parents, some of you might give you an inheritance. You can run through an inheritance. You have to have a skill which is of use to somebody else in the world for which they are able to pay. Okay? So you can say, my passion is counting stars. Good. I hope you have a rich father. Okay? Because very few people, unless you go into space studies, you take that passion and you take it to another level. Lying down and counting stars is not going to give you food. So there has to be an intersection of your passion with its ability to earn something for you. It is very important for you to action that. But don't ever forget your passion. Keep your weekends for it. Do something to nurture this plant so that when you're fully ready, when you're fully cooked, then you have this beautiful masterpiece, which I hope will become a wonderful bestseller. So delighted to be here. I'm really, really glad that I made this trip. And good luck to the teams. May the best win.